and all that great stuff. Also, while you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on the video, and type a comment or two of what you like or didn't like about the episode. Matt Wilson, you got to be holding the record now for number of comments. SpaySpay used to, but we had to get on SpaySpay because he was causing channel problems. But Matt Wilson, you're drilling that puppy, baby, like you drill other things, maybe. All right, I'm sitting here with video. Type a comment or two with what you like or didn't like about the episode. Thank you, Matt Wilson. Thank you, SpaySpay. Thank you, Craig Walston. Thank you, Mark Wilson Tatanka, getting his name wrong. Mark Buffalo. We appreciate it.
Mr. Buffalo.
Yeah. We did get a question before we get into this 84 Parade of Champions from SpaySpay. He wants to know, did you guys like the A&E Von Erich documentary? Will you do a review about each episode? Because it's like 2 parts. So I actually was communicating with Lance about this on the side, and Lance and I were talking, and so here's what we're going to do for the next episode or 2. I should say 2. So the next episode, we're going to cover the May 11th World Class show. And then we're also going to do a separate episode on the A&E Von Erich documentary. We won't do a show for the, episode 1 and 2 of it. We'll just do one. Partly because I kind of have passively seen it. I don't think Lance has seen it yet. And when I was watching it, I was grilling over the weekend, and it was on while I was going in and outside. So I was seeing bits and pieces of both parts while I was kind of busy with the family and stuff. And there's things I heard that I'm like, okay, I've heard that a million times. There's no way me and Lance can talk about it because we've talked about it before. So we're just going to kind of be maybe boring talking about that stuff. But then I know one thing that I'm sure would pique Lance's interest. And then the other thing is, we've been doing this for so long, and Lance is such a pro at it that we'll end up picking it apart too. And I don't want it to turn into something negative. But anyway, it was interesting from what I saw. I haven't sat down and watched all of it because, again, I was going in and out when it was on in the background. But we will do an episode on it. I don't know how long the episode's going to be, but we will do an episode on it. So there's that. Lance, you want to add anything to it?
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I'm actively not, I don't watch anybody's reviews of it. I don't want anybody's, to affect how I'm saying it as usual. I want it to be fresh for you guys. So I'm avoiding all the clips and everything. I've got to figure out where I'm supposed to watch it. I know a few of y'all have sent me links of how to watch it. I just haven't. I've been so busy at work and trying to get this in. I record another show here on the site. We'll talk about it at the end. So, I'm just getting caught up with life just a little bit. And I do know that Eric Dickerson had the record and all that and stuff. But then again, it was years when the Cowboys were down, and I was definitely paying more attention to wrestling by far. I also wasn't watching Saturday Night Live during all those good years because I was watching wrestling on Saturday nights. So, I'm kind of that's the way things go and the way I see things. But all right, we'll get to that Von Erich thing. I'm getting more and more psyched about watching it. I really like to be in the good mood the right mood to take good notes and listen to what's said. And, I'm careful each time I take in new stuff to, because I want to form a good opinion of it, tell y'all what I think, and, see if any of it changes anything that I think, because I do try to go into it open-minded and see what's being said, because just because they're giving them the camera doesn't mean they're telling the truth. Plus, 40 years ago, I understand. I rehash this crap every day and I mean that lovingly. I rehash it every day on Twitter or doing these shows. I'm talking about all the time. But seriously, these guys, it was part of their life when these guys were in their early 20s. How are they supposed to remember different parts of their life and stuff like that? So, yeah, but we'll check it out, Mike. We'll get after it.
All right. So on that note, we are going to jump into the 1984 parade.
Realized. This is AI SpaySpay, #1 crockhead, calling from Kenny's Key West, right next to the new Buc-ee's, calling to give flowers to Mike, Doc, and Harper for a whole ass decade of smoothing up in us. I don't want to put myself over, but sometimes I work myself into a shoot, and I just start walking toward that Burger King cooler, you know what I mean? But then I listen to the show and laugh, And I say, whoa, I ain't gonna do the Von Erich thing. So we only have a minute. Shit, that's nice. All right, thanks guys. Bucket bitch.
Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on the video, type a comment or 2 or 3 or 4 with what you liked or didn't like about the episode. Matt Wilson, you are the king right now of you put timestamps in your comments, though. That really shows you are listening and enjoying. So thank you very much. SpaySpay still, we got you on a limit. Don't go any more than 2. I don't want you to get the channel in trouble again. Anyway, I'm sitting here.
Wait, what?
It's a long story. I'll tell you offline. Nothing horrible, but it's it's a long story. I'm sitting here with Doc and Hardbody. I hyped the video. Again, it's got to be within 7 days. So if you're listening to this 14 days down the road or later, obviously the hype button's not going to be there. It's for new releases within the last 7 days. So there's that. But if you're one of those people like Matt Wilson and Mark Buffalo and Jose Corona and all those guys out there in SpaySpay and all of them who...
These can't be real names.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you the names
Mark
that are
Buffalo.
on the videos. Mark Buffalo or Tatanka. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are real people. And hit the like button on the video and make sure you type a comment or 2 or 3 or 4 with what you liked or didn't like about the episode. It definitely helps the channel grow and it makes Harper very, very happy. Not you, SpaySpay. You like to put hundreds of comments. Don't do that. You'll get us in trouble.
Why?
So just 1 or 2 for you's fine. But no, please post a comment of what you liked or didn't like about the episode. I recently dropped that demented looking character in the crowd on YouTube. Yes. On that note, thank you to all the patrons as well, as I said. On that note, we did get one question for this week's episode. If you have a question for myself, mainly Lance, for the World Class Cast, please submit it to bookingtheterritory@gmail.com. I will make sure Lance gets the question and it is answered on the next show, the next time we record, from when we receive it. We got this interesting question from SpaySpay. SpaySpay is interesting. He likes to ask the crazy questions sometimes. Lance, do you think it broke kayfabe too much to have the Freebird say nice things about David following his death? Okay, keep that. Hold on. We'll keep going in a second. Do you think it would have been best for business for the Birds to say something like, fuck David? As far as we're concerned, it's 1 down, 3 to go. SpaySpay is channeling New Jack when New Jack shouted out O.J. Simpson and thanked O.J. Simpson for having 2 less to worry about. I will answer his second question first and say there is no goddamn way in hell World Class Championship Wrestling was going to let the Birds say F David after he passed.
Yeah.
Let me just say that. They were, and I'm not exaggerating here and trying to be funny, they were fine Christian athletes, and they were not going to go that route, is my 2 cents. Lance, you want to take the first question first? Did they break kayfabe by the Freebirds saying too many nice things about David following his death?
Well, I believe the Sportatorium's pretty packed, so I guess they didn't hurt the fan base breaking kayfabe or nothing with the place packed. No, and Channel 39 wasn't going to let them say nothing. If Von Erich's trying to say nothing, the mom is watching the show and they own the promotion, so no, they're gonna say anything, that would be, I don't know, what's the word? Crass, blue. I mean, it would be pretty rough to say anything bad about the dead. So no, they did it the best way possible, as we said a few weeks ago on the show. So
this is probably the one promotion where you couldn't necessarily get away with that. Like during this era, no. I mean, because we always like to say, well, you can't, like in today's politically correct environment, obviously you couldn't say nothing like that. But in the territories, they did a lot of stuff that was not politically correct. But in my opinion, there's no way you could do that in World Class and get away with it. I mean, there's been other stuff they've gotten calls to the station about that they had to abandon. Being patrons here.
And this question coming up is the reason you pay the money.
Yeah. We got a question, but before I ask Lance the question, I just want to send out a reminder that you too can submit questions for the show for Lance and me, but mainly Lance. He's the star of the show. To bookingtheterritory@gmail.com. That is bookingtheterritory@gmail.com. This question comes from our old friend SpaySpay. SpaySpay says, "Hey Lance, what were the bathrooms like at the fucking Sportatorium? Small, big, smelly, clean. People snorting coke off the toilet seats. Dish all the dirt, please. Love, SpaySpay.
No, I didn't see any drug use in the bathrooms and stuff. I might not. Let's see. How old was I here? If I was in there right at this time, I certainly probably wouldn't even notice pot or anything. I don't know. It was just an idiot kid and stuff. But seriously, there are two main bathrooms for men and women at each end of. They're right by where the wrestlers came out. You could mess that up and go to the wrong one where the hills were. People know what I'm talking about. But they were just long trough. A porcelain trough, because I remember when they redid something and the trough became like a stainless steel trough, and that was about it. I wasn't in there celebrating, or I don't think I was taking a shit. I think I was in there to pee, and that was about it. But if you went during the matches, the one that was it's so hard to explain, but the hard camera faces one direction, and what you can see is not the aisles that go up to the locker rooms. That end went up kind of to go out the parking lot. But if you went up there, you could and went to that bathroom. There was also an area that had kind of a chicken wire fence under the let's say your football field, and you got the bleachers, and underneath the bleachers is where you put like some of the supplies for practice, for football practice. And so inside there you could see maybe the extra ropes or something, or the penalty box. That's what I meant. Penalty box was right there. I don't think the cage was back there, but it might have been up against a wall back there. But I definitely know the penalty boxes were there in this area, so you could kind of see that. And it'd be hard to. It's just so hard to explain the how it was built. Again, the ring was down 20 feet from ground level, if you will. I don't even know if 20 feet's the right.
Lance, he's asking about the toilets, not.
Well, I'm just going into the freak. What else can I say about a toilet? I'm just telling people how it was.
I know.
What am I going to say about the freaking toilet? The trough, I'm like, at any time I go somewhere and there's a trough, I'm like, oh, sportatorium-ish. One time I started to put a tweet out because I was somewhere downtown Dallas at a place that, and I was like, oh, there's a trough.
I was at UTA's football stadium, which they don't have a football team, but they have a football stadium.
They have a football stadium. They sure as hell have a stadium that could ready for you right now to play ball.
It's a pretty nice stadium for high school football. I mean, but it's I don't know when they built it. It's obviously pretty old, because I go in the bathroom and it's a porcelain trough, and I take a picture of it and send it to Doc and Harper. I go, man, I'm at this stadium tonight. And they got this porcelain trough, and not that. I mean, I'm trying to think, like, you see these troughs and they're always just metal and steel or whatever, right? Like, I don't know. I just whenever you see a porcelain trough, it feels like a very, very old, very, very old thing.
That's
I'm like,
so funny. That's exactly what I was thinking when I was talking about this, because I remembered they changed it to a metal trough, but it was porcelain. I was like, am I thinking of that right? It absolutely was porcelain, just like you're saying. That's funny.
Yeah. I turned the corner in his bathroom, and there's this porcelain trough, and I sent it to Doc and Harper goes, Jesus Christ, that place must be old. I'm like, I have no clue. Like, I don't know when they built that stadium. I have no idea. It's obviously, they must have a soccer team, because
they have soccer and track. That's where Brian Adias excelled.
Okay.
The Southland Conference.
All right.
And I think that Jones Film Library channel on YouTube, you can see them practicing the UTA team or something at the stadium. I was there. The last time I was there, I was a trainer for the sports at SMU. I traveled everywhere with the track team and football team, and then was with the track team, and I went around to the visitor side during a track meet. It wasn't, and nobody was on that side, but I went around there to film for track. I took the camera. Different people would film, the athletes and stuff like that for the coach or whatever. And I went around there, and I'm starting to film, and there's this, all of a sudden they're chasing somebody on that side of the stadium, and the police are going, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? And it was a training exercise. And I'm like, I'm the only person on this whole side of the football field of the stadium. kind of crazy deal. Anyway, yeah, that's old Brian Adias Southland Conference Hall of Fame right there. That's where he made his mark.
So
that is a hell of a stadium. That's crazy.
I mean, it's perfect for like high school football. Like it was. I went to a couple of games there this year.
It's just landlocked, if you will. I mean, there's no easy way to it.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. And some of that stuff out there, there's, clubs out there that, the big old country clubs that, not country club, but a club that was, whatever, like a Gillies type of deal. I had a business in one. I had an ATM machine in one that I was running for a while. But it's landlocked. And when you don't have a freeway near you, you're screwed.
It's a heavy residential area, too.
Yeah.
So, Lance, just real quick before we wrap up. He did want to know, was it a small bathroom? Were the bathrooms small?
No, it wasn't long. I was long and stuff. I didn't go in the stall. I remember there were stalls. I don't remember anything special, but no, there was nothing. And I believe, there's no ceiling, the walls. So I think, it wasn't like you were, you could still hear the world outside. It's just some wooden walls, but I don't think there was any ceiling.
I take it you didn't use a stall ever when you went.
That's what I'm saying. No stall. I wasn't in there reading the newspaper. Nothing. I was in and out, man. I was a fan. And of course, I didn't get in there until whatever late '85 is when I the first time I went in there. Late '85.
All right. There you go. So SpaySpay.
Then I would live in there years later. I would live there.
So SpaySpay, they probably were smelly. I wouldn't say they were the cleanest, but it is a sportatorium. Nothing's clean there. And there were
cigarette smoke is blowing, throughout the whole freaking place.
Yeah.
So you're not smelling nothing anyways. I
Right.
mean, that's the damn truth when I think about it, the smoke and everything. So yeah, that's why y'all are patrons and you get to hear the bathroom.
No one, Lance didn't see anyone snorting Coke off the toilet seats either. So there you go.
No.
But thank you, SpaySpay, for the question. And if you have a question for Lance, email the show, bookingtheterritory@gmail.com.
Let's do a timeline or something.
All right. Lance, anything else, or you want to get out of here?
No, thanks.
If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on the video, and type a comment or 2 or 3 or 4 with what you liked or didn't like about the episode. It helps the channel grow. Thank you, Matt Wilson. Thank you, SpaySpay. Thank you, Craig Walston, and all the other people out there that I'm forgetting your name right now. We do appreciate it. It is greatly appreciated when you put those comments and hit the little thumbs up button and subscribe. As for now,